the whole episode of the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast today. And actually, today you are going to be interviewing me. Is that right?
Yes, and I'm very happy, very honored to be your interviewer.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
so excited.
me
So we
too.
spoke because Miriam is our PR consultant. She's helping us with all our public relations and our positioning around with our messaging. And we had this discussion around my birthday was coming up. It's actually my birthday week. My birthday is on November 23rd. And I was
Happy
like,
birthday!
yeah, thank you. And so I was like, I want to do something special for my birthday week. I don't want to do a regular episode. And I didn't know really what to do. And we started talking with Miriam, and she was like, well, why don't you talk about your Jewish women entrepreneurs movement? I was like, oh, that's a great birthday gift. I love that. I love to talk about that. So then we said, well, who can be better to ask questions around that? And then Miriam said, yes, she's going to ask me questions around that. And that also gave me the opportunity, I have to say, Miriam, it gave me the opportunity to also go deep and dig for, what do I really want to do with that movement? So first of all, thank you for that, because it helped me think about it and do some more research and be more connected with that concept that I love, of course. But I love this idea of having an interview around that. So you're asking the questions and I'm all yours.
So first of all, again, I'm very happy because I think everybody needs to really understand and to hear from you exactly what is it about, and to so everybody can understand now what is your movement and why you have this whole vision. So the floor is yours. My first question will be the most obvious question, which is, what is the Jewish women entrepreneurs movement, and why did you feel there's a need for it now?
Yeah, you're right. It's a very obvious question and it's a very important one. Well, actually, the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Movement was born from COVID. It was born when everyone was at home, no one was really meeting anyone, and everyone was going on Zoom. And we had this idea to start with a global online network for women. And this became the beginning. This was the first seed that we planted. Then the podcast started, and then we saw that there was the beginning of this whole movement. But basically, the idea behind the movement is a sisterhood of Jewish women from Israel and from all over the world who all have a business, all want to be entrepreneurs, all want to grow as people, but they also want to be in alignment with their feminine dimension. They also don't want to do business the masculine way. And I know we're going to talk about, what does it mean to do business the feminine, the masculine, because that's also at the center of this whole issue. But I saw that there's a lot of sisterhoods, right? We see a lot of women entrepreneurs getting together and building sisterhoods. There are also a lot of Jewish women organizations around the world, but I never saw a global organization that really offers a sisterhood for those women to speak about business, to speak about their identity, and also to speak about their alignment with their feminine energy. So that's how it was born. And the reason you ask why is it important now is because I really think that we are shifting towards a more feminine dimension. And I know we're going to talk about that, but I think the world is shifting, and this is something that everyone, whether it's men or women, feel the need to really connect to that dimension, to that energy. And so that's why I think it's really important to do it now.
So obviously, my second question will be, again, very obvious, because you mentioned a lot the concept of feminine dimension, feminine energy, and would like you to explain to us what is it, and also what is the difference between this feminine dimension and feminism, because that's really close, at least when you hear the concept. So I would like you to explain and describe to us.
I'm so happy that you're asking this because so many people make the confusion. So many people confuse feminine dimension and the feminism movement or feminism, organizations. And I know in my own family, I have to say that, I'm, every time I talk, it's like, oh, again, the feminist is talking. Oh, again, she's going to defend women's rights. And, everyone thinks, that they put me in a box and, I'm always going to defend women's rights. It's true. I do defend women's rights. And I do think that there's a lot of work still yet to be done on, equality between men and women. But feminine energy and feminine dimension is not that at all. Men and women have a feminine energy and a masculine energy. Just like if you would say your right brain and your left brain or your five senses, there's no difference between what a man has and what a woman has. It's the type of energy. It's a different characteristic. It's like when you say the yin and the yang, it's within each of us, whether we're a man or woman. It's not gender based. It's actually something that comes from very ancient traditions. A lot of ancient traditions speak about the feminine energy, the divine feminine, the feminine dimension. And it has been repressed for many, many years because the world has been working and behaving under this masculine energy, which we are very grateful for because we needed that masculine energy and we needed that energy of doing and of building and of being very, very active in the world. But now we are observing, and when I say we, it's a lot of people are talking about this, not only me. I've been doing some research and a lot of people are saying that the earth, the world, the human as a race is shifting towards a more feminine energy. Because the world has been built for thousands of years and we needed that masculine energy until now, but now we are shifting slowly towards a more spiritual energy, a softer energy, an energy that is more in the being, not in the doing, an energy that is more around intuition, alignment, creativity. And this is what we see also a lot of the businesses and the entrepreneurs that are starting. They're all in this area of coaching and personal development and spiritual development and also feeling good and lifestyle and being aligned. And this is what we have today. It doesn't mean that the feminine energy is better than the masculine energy because we need both. We need to have this balance, just like the yin and the yang. And we have used, like I said, the masculine energy. But now this feminine energy is a little bit difficult to reach because we are like programmed. It's like a pattern that we're in, that we, first of all, women and men, I know I've been in my masculine energy most of my life, and it's only until recently that I discovered that I had this feminine energy and that I had to work towards going more, being softer, being less in the doing, being more in the connection, in the alignment. And this is something that I've worked through meditation, through yoga, through spiritual exercise, but it's not something that comes natural. And on the other hand, you have men that have a very strong feminine energy, and sometimes they don't find themselves because people think that they're weak or vulnerable or they're not really manly, right? But they also want to express their feminine energy. So all of this to say that there is no good or bad. We need to have both. Yes, it's true that we've been expressing our masculine energy, men and women, much more than our feminine energy, but we need to go back to more balanced and more aligned way of being ourselves.
So if I understand you correctly, feminism and feminine dimension are not exclusive.
No.
You can have them. Okay.
Of course, yes. The feminism is, as we know, it's a fight it's a struggle for equality of rights. And like I said before, of course, there are many rights that we still need to fight for, and many countries where women don't have the same rights as men. And this is a fight that needs to be fought. It has nothing to do with the feminine dimension, but I would say that maybe there is a shift that's happening where if maybe in the last 40 years we had a very strong and very powerful and maybe a little aggressive way of fighting the feminism cause, and maybe we see that now we see that women can know how to fight it in a more feminine way and not necessarily more aggressive, but more, being more in disalignment and more like not just because we have to fight and we have quotas and we have inclusive and we need to. And this is also a masculine way of doing. So I think that this is what's happening now, that, even the feminine cause can be fought in a feminine way. Now, sometimes we have to put our foot down and we really have to fight and really have to go and do what needs to be done. But it's all a matter of balance.
So thank you.
Thank
and you mentioned the impact of COVID in all this concept and this shift. So did it have an impact on that matter, on feminine dimension? And is there a connection between COVID, like the effects, consequences of COVID, and the feminine dimension? And why does the world need this dimension now, specifically now?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I'll start with my intuition, because during COVID, and I know I've spoken to a lot of people, I wasn't alone. I mean, except for the fact that it is and it was a pandemic where thousands, if not, a lot of people died, of course, wherever you were, and that was really, really something that was really difficult to go through. But except for that aspect, a lot of people that I spoke to felt like the being, in their home, going back, connecting to their families, connecting to their children, stopping to run all the time, looking at their life with a new perspective, defining their priorities differently, connecting with people differently, just having an opportunity and a chance to look at their lives and the whole world differently. And so if you weren't really, under, having health issues with COVID, you had that opportunity to be able to see life and the world differently. And that is definitely a feminine dimension of looking at life, is stopping to run, stopping to, run after money, run after, success, run after we don't even know what, but we're still running, not having time, not being connecting with our family. And so doing research, I had this intuition. I really enjoyed, I was lucky not to be, not to have COVID. So I can say that, I was lucky to only have the good part of it. And I felt so aligned during this whole period of COVID, and I didn't know why. There was something in me that I felt even guilty to feel so good and to feel so, so happy to have that opportunity to live something that I felt I needed to live, but I didn't even know that I needed to live. Like, the things that you don't know, you don't know. And then when I spoke to people, a lot of people had the same reaction. And then doing some research, I heard someone say that basically COVID was coming from the earth that was shifting to that feminine energy. And it was the way of the earth to say to the world, to the people, to the human race, just to stop, flying, to stop doing, to stop running, to stop being in this, crazy cycle that no one could stop. And only a pandemic apparently was able to stop. And so, yes, COVID, I think, was the way of the earth to, to shift to its feminine dimension. And I heard also other people saying that this shift is going to happen, whether it's going to happen organically or whether it's going to happen with big tragedies or big, bad things that are going to happen. It's our choice. And that's why it's really urgent to speak about it and to connect to it. Because if we do it naturally and if we do it organically and if we go through it in a very natural way, then everything is going to happen as planned. Because it's the time for the feminine energy to really happen. But if we don't do it, and if we're still fighting, and if we still stay in our old ways, and if we don't let that flow go through us and show us a different way of being, then it's going to happen through different ways. And COVID is an example of how we maybe don't want it to happen. So that is something I heard someone say, and it really resonated so much with the way I went through COVID. So that was a really interesting experience.
You're really talking about kind of a revolution, a shift in mindset of changing the way you behave. And since we are in the Jewish woman entrepreneur movement, I have to ask you, do you think that there's a feminine way, a feminine energy in the way you can be an entrepreneur, and also about leadership? Is there a new way to be a leader with this concept in mind and this shift of mindset in mind?
Yeah, definitely, because everything is shifting, and you're so right. It is a mindset shift. It's also a shift in consciousness. That people are aware of who they are and what is their role on this earth. It's not just a coincidence that so many people talk about purpose, and so many people talk about alignment, and so many people are also leaving their jobs to look for their passion. I mean, it's not just a trend. We see that a lot of people are really finally realizing that having a 9 to 5 job, I mean, if they love their job, then perfect. But if they're not happy, there's so many other opportunities today that someone can choose. And technology, that is also something that I've observed. It's like if technology was also here at the right time just to enable that to happen. Because, 10 years ago, I think even not more than that, it wouldn't have been possible to open a business or to have an online business or to use the marketing platforms or the social media platforms. And so it's like if everyone was coming, at this meeting point, and it's not a coincidence that technology is here to serve our purpose and to allow us to be able to choose and to say, you know what, maybe I don't want to make money that way. Maybe I want to make money this way. And there's a big opportunity for people who decide to become entrepreneurs. And we saw that in COVID, that was really such a big transformation of so many people that realized that having a job, a corporate job or a 9 to 5 job was not that safe anymore. I mean, that was the big argument, right? If you have a 9 to 5 job, you're going to be safe. You're going to have a salary at the end of the month. And then all of a sudden, COVID happens and you don't have that safety anymore.
Yes.
And so it was even safer to have your business online and to be able to be, with your computer from home than to have a 9 to 5 job. Even in the big companies, we saw that so many people got fired, unfortunately. So yes, there is a feminine way of being an entrepreneur. There is a feminine way of being in business. And this is the way that I believe in. It's the way that says that it's not about doing more, but it's about being different. It's about working on our mindset, working on what we call the law of attraction, meaning like, how am I attracting abundance? Not because I'm hustling and I'm, doing more sales. I'm looking for more people to sell to and doing things in a very, very masculine energy, right? But more like being aligned, being ready to receive, of course, doing everything we have to do. Listen, I don't believe in, sitting on the beach and waiting for money to, fall down from the sky. That's not my, philosophy. Anyone who knows me knows that, I believe in strategy and I believe in marketing and I believe in sales and I believe in picking up your phone and doing everything you have to do in order to have a successful business. But it's all about the mindset. It's all about, yes, even if I'm doing the same thing, how am I doing it? It's not the what, it's the how, right? Am I doing it in a way that, oh my God, if I don't make money, it's the end of my life? Or am I doing it, with a bigger perspective of what is my role? What is my purpose? Who am I serving? How am I aligned with the people I'm serving? And how everything has to happen at the end of the day. So the people that I see in my programs or even in, in our movement or in our networking events, they're people that, yes, want to make money. Yes, want to be successful. We all want to be successful. We all want to have a lifestyle that we need. But they also have a higher purpose. They also are dedicated to something bigger than themselves. They also want to serve. They also want to be there with their purpose, with what I call they're born to do. And so it's also about doing business from intuition, from creativity, and less from, the hustle and this is what I have to do and I have to do it because this is the only way I can make money. So yes, to answer your question, there is a new way of doing business. I'm not the only one talking about this. A lot of business coaches and business mentors are showing this new way. I'm so happy that this is something that is very common today. And it's a choice whether you want to hustle or you want to be ready to receive abundance. And yes, I do believe that it creates a new form of leadership. Yes, leaders today don't necessarily have to be in the authority or don't have to be, using fear to be, respected. But much more in, in this alignment where we're all working together towards the same goal. And I know it sounds a little bit like, fairy tale and Walt Disney, but we've had the other way for so many years that sometimes the shift is going to require us to look at this from a different perspective.
Yes, but not to just to defend your position also. It's not, I'm not hearing like a feminine way as a very passive and very nice. It's more about the different energy. So it's also a way of being a leader. It's a new way of being a leader, not less passive, not more passive, just different. And that's what makes the whole concept and the way you defend it very very interesting. But that there is a question that everyone is asking, therefore, because you're talking about the feminine dimension, you're talking the woman entrepreneurs. So where are the men? We used to say, where are the women? So where are the men? Is there a place, is there room for a man in that feminine dimension, in that feminine energy? Do they also share this energy?
Yes. That I love that question, because men do feel a little bit like we're putting them outside, or we're not including them, right? Talking about inclusion. But I think it's two different discussion, right? There is the discussion around feminine energy, which, like we said, every man, every woman has both, has feminine energy, has masculine energy. And we said, yes, that for thousands of years, the masculine energy was much more present, was predominant, and the feminine energy was more in the back burner. And so yes, men that connected to that masculine energy felt more comfortable, felt more like, okay, we're talking about the energy that I can connect with more. But really, they are missing, or they were missing, also the feminine energy. And I even want to go as far as saying that women also adopted that masculine energy. I spoke about me, but I know a lot of women that are achievers, or successful, or are in leadership position, and they have to adopt the masculine energy, or they think they have to adopt the masculine energy in
Mm-hmm.
order to succeed, because that is the language that everyone is speaking. So this shift in consciousness is touching everyone. It's touching women that have to be reminded that there is a feminine way of doing things, and that even if it feels a little bit outside of their comfort zone, they're going to find the alignment once they know how to work with both. And it's touching men who don't have to say, I'm not going to have ego anymore. I'm not going to be a real man if I'm connecting to my feminine dimension, because they want it too. They also have this vulnerable side. They also have this side of creativity and intuition. I personally know a lot of men that have a very strong feminine dimension, and sometimes society is not allowing them to express it,
Yeah.
because we have to be in that masculine energy. So I think we're both facing that problem from a different perspective. Women maybe are less, maybe more comfortable in shifting, because they weren't comfortable in the other energy anyway. And men, they also are discovering something new, but it was inside of them anyway. So we both have to learn how to take the best of both worlds. It's not something that we have to separate. So in terms of the feminine dimension, yes, it's both for men and for women. In terms of the Jewish women entrepreneurs movement, obviously it's a women movement, it's a sisterhood. And so yes, it is only for women. But in my business programs, I work with women and men alike. And the men that I work with usually have a very developed feminine dimension. They really are connecting to that dimension. They know how to express it, and they feel comfortable with it. But in my business programs, I have both. So yes, it's men are definitely part of the story here.
So Natalie, you just mentioned your programs and your coaching. Uh, so I would like to ask you a last question, because I think we are gonna we don't have so much time anymore. So I would like you to explain to us, to describe your vision of the Jewish women entrepreneur movement, and how it is aligned, because you're talking a lot about the alignment, and how this is aligned with your born to do business. How Where do you find the alignments, please?
I love that question. Of course, I speak a lot about alignment. Sometimes even like I have to stop myself from using that word. But yeah, definitely. I mean, what is amazing about the Jewish women entrepreneurs movement, the way it happened to me, is that it happened really organically. When you sit down and you make a plan, and you need to work on a strategy, and you're like, I need a narrative, I need a story, I need something, and you work on it, and sometimes you find it and sometimes you don't, and it's perfectly fine. But in my case, and in this case, and this is why I can only say that it was meant to be. I mean, there's nothing else I can say, is that it came to me so naturally. And when I say that there is alignment, then all the doors open. When you meet the right people, you are the right moment, you have the right timing. People just, I don't know, for some reason find you. I mean, we've had, since the Global Online Business Network started in January 2021, we've had more than 500 women register on and off, not coming at once. But on and off, we had more than 500 women. And I'm talking about no advertising. It's a free networking event. I mean, nothing business-like around it. So it was like, just as just I found this on my lap. It was like, okay, there is something happening. I was more observing than really acting. I was just observing that, yes, I'm a facilitator. Yes, I know how to bring women together and how to create those spaces and how to allow them to be themselves. Yes, I know that, but I was more like a channeler, more like a facilitator, because this has to happen. The Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Movement has to happen. Whether I'm facilitating it or someone else will, that's another question. But right now, it's something that is knocking on the door. And so many women came to me and said, wow, this is amazing that you're doing this. Thank you so much for allowing us to get together. The podcast is the same. I was doing interviews for, I think, a year. I was doing live interviews on my Facebook group, and I was always interviewing women. Most of them were Jewish, not because I don't speak to non-Jewish women, but it was just, that's how it happened. And we most of the time spoke about business. So the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast just was born like, of course, it's obvious. We just need to have that. And then the next step, which we're hoping to have in June 2022, which is the Jerusalem conference, where in my vision, you ask, what is my vision? I'm seeing, a big conference with women coming from all over the world, with women speakers, with inspiration, with empowerment, with networking, with booths. I mean, I'm seeing it all. It's like already existing. I can draw it. I can see it. And I know that when you can see something, it will happen, because you cannot dream something that is not going, or didn't happen, or is not going to happen. So for me, the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Movement is something obvious that has to happen organically. Well, it will take the time that it will take. And, I'm so happy that I was given that opportunity to, really create that dimension for women. And also, I have to say that this connection between Jewish women entrepreneurs in Israel and around the world, it's really interesting, that communication, and, how it's really a win-win where both need each other, right? The Israeli women here, of course, they always are very thirsty for connection with, the outside or abroad, in the US or in Europe or wherever we always are looking for more connections. And the Jewish women around the world always love to connect with Israelis and the startup nation and entrepreneurs and what's happening in Israel. They're always looking for an opportunity to hop on the plane and, come to Israel for any excuse, right? And so this connection, this ecosystem, it's like a natural ecosystem. We don't even have to create it. It's just, it is. We know that we connect and we have common points, and we're going to talk about things that are connecting us in our business, in our lives, in our identity, in everything. So the vision for the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast is a movement. I think there's no border, there's no limit. I think it can grow to thousands of women that can be connected and can help each other and support each other. The connection with the programs you asked, the Born to Do Business programs, which are coaching programs where there's training and coaching and consulting for entrepreneurs that want to grow and scale their business. That is my Born to Do, right? This is what I do every day. I help entrepreneurs. I love doing that. This is my passion. And so I know that there will be some alignment between those women that come for this movement and some women who might want to learn or be coached or get help to grow and scale their business. This is the alignment. It's an additional tool in the toolbox that everyone who comes into the movement will have access to. So everything is coming together.
Natalie, I want to thank you, first of all, for this interview, but also because you had this vision and you had this timely vision. You helped. So I thank you on my behalf, and I'm sure on behalf of many other people, because you helped us a lot between this period. Like now it's a little bit better, but between all this period of time where we had to be home, you gave us some horizon, some vision, some visibility, even something to look for, and it helped us a lot. And thank you very much for that. I wish you a lot of happiness, health, and many, 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 many other women who can come to be with you and to enjoy, benefit from your vision and from your very, very good and wise advice, like I did. So thank you very much. Happy birthday.
Oh,
Wish you
thank you.
a lot, a lot, a lot for you.
Wow, I really think that this is the best birthday gift anyone could give me. Thank you so much. I have tears in my eyes. I'm really moved. Wow, this is thank you so much. Thank you for doing this interview, and thank you for being
My
on this
pleasure.
path with me and on this journey. And I'm so happy that we're going to be able to share this with more and more women, and so that we can really build this synergy together. So thank you, Miriam. Thank you for everyone who listened. And we will see you in the next episode of the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Natalie.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.